Hey gang, what's poppin', what's going on, and welcome on back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. As always, mate, I do hope you are doing well, my friend. I really do hope that, and welcome back to Chelsea News, which of course is the daily series here on the channel, where I see what's being said about Chelsea. There's quite a bit. Give you my thoughts on it, but as always, more importantly, ask for yours. There's a lot of talk around the Chelsea manager. Henry Winter, I've just seen tweeting about it, loads of headlines. For those of you who thought, oh, here he is, the guy who's, worked his way up, the young Englishman, the media darling, of course, not some sort of silver spoon white guy who's got the job through names, like, people accuse that of Lampard, but obviously Gerrard, Rooney, this is a young black manager who's basically worked really hard. He's not known for being having an amazing playing career, though, a good pro career. And he's going to be this media darling that the English media all just basically try and protect. No, he's becoming a real Chelsea manager and is being dug out because he's got a good bit of confidence. He's showing a little bit of grit. He's doing a touch of the Mourinho's. Basically, we're going to get into that. And I do want to... I said this on my Instagram yesterday when I was watching Strasbourg. I have to talk about Diego Morera, who we sold for £1.2 million. And then we spent 90 to bring in Garnacho and Gittens. Gittens, of course, is injured. That maybe he'll be out for the season. I'm not entirely sure. He's got a tear in his hamstring. Lots to get into, my friends, but I'm delighted to have you here with me. If you want to support me, I'm delighted that you've made that decision. There we go. You can do so just by dropping a like on this video if you're watching on YouTube, subscribing if you choose to. If you do subscribe, hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. And of course, this is available on podcast platforms after searching Football Therapy Podcasts, and you can follow and 5-star if you want to help your boy out. Thank you. Right. So let's start off with Liam. Of course, he said that, in the warm-up to Arsenal, he was telling them to keep on their own side. It became a news story. The players in the half a pitch each to warm up, and he was shouting them, stay on your own side. I don't mind it at all. I think it's pretty fun. Firstly, let's be real. This is a complete non-story, which in a way has made it a story. It is like, if the news don't talk about it, it's Schrodinger's news story, it's nothing. It's him doing a little bit of agginess. He spoke about respect. He bigged up Arteta and all this stuff afterwards. I would much rather him get... this obviously, it's a little... You could say it's a bit cringe. He's trying to be a bit like Mourinho. He's dropped a few Mourinho-isms in. But I think he's such a smart guy. He's trying to play for every... He keeps saying that I'm a boy from around these ends. He's not claiming to be a Chelsea fan. We knew he grew up a Man United fan. Because I understand this club, these people, these fans. I'm from around here. I know what it means for Chelsea fans. They need to win. They need to feel their team. He's saying all the right things. He's nowhere near Graham Potter. Graham Potter was like, and with the greatest of respect to Potter, it's like he won a competition and was managing Chelsea, and he couldn't quite believe it in himself. And he's like, well, we'll see what happens, and this kind of stuff. Liam Rosenior's made the decision. I'm going to enjoy this and do my best and succeed. There's no point being, this is it. I'm here, so let's go for it, and we're going to do it. Chelsea wins. These players are winners. These players are world class. I'm so lucky to have them. I've worked very hard, but despite that, I know I'm lucky, and I'm going to use them, and we're going to win. Do you know what I mean? He did the whole, I'm not arrogant. I'm a great coach. I'm good at what I do. And I like a little bit of that. He's not putting too much in, but he is showing confidence. He is showing a little bit of cojones. And even these little things like, train on your half of the pitch. Some of you might think, oh, it's cringe. I kind of like it. I'd rather he show something. He spoke about the psychological battle of the Emirates. I have no issue with a Chelsea manager trying to get every single margin, whether it be psychological, tactical, emotional, physiological, whatever, all of it. I want that, and I want a manager that believes in himself. And to be honest, it feels very Chelsea that he's being targeted by the media so early. So sort of everyone who thought this was going to be some sort of darling of the footballing English media, not so. And I think actually, certainly it feels, from what I see, the match-going fans are starting to connect with him. Of course, he's already had his name sung. It's not, like he's had a song made for him. It's a chant. Liam, Liam. Although I think, Liam Rosinia is an open goal there for whenever you want to take it. So he's had his name sung multiple times. He's seemingly connecting with the match-going support at Chelsea, home and away. He did some Chelsea media, was it last night, talk, and he spoke about, look, we can compete with Arsenal. I think people took it in the wrong way, saying we're near them, like we can compete, like, oh, we're in the title race. It's not that. No, he says we're a great team. We can compete with these teams, and we're going to get better. And yeah, to which the crowd, the live audience, the live action crowd, started singing his name. So he's clear, and he's not deliberately, necessarily pandering. He does genuinely seem authentic. And for all the sort of LinkedIn chat and all this kind of stuff, and Jake Humphries, Matt High Performance, Dario the CEO, yes, there's a bit of that. I'm not going to pretend there isn't. He's like, Jake Humphries is rubbing his hands together that when he can get him on his podcast, and I think it would be like the ultimate meme, and I get it, I get all that, but at the same time, I like it. I like how, some footballers like all that as well. I really believe in Liam Rosenior. Genuinely. I'm backing him to succeed so much. I don't think we've had a coach who speaks like this since Tuchel. I know we've had a few. We've had Pochettino, Maresca, Potter. None of those guys hit the tone like this. I feel like he's saying, I'm really, really backing him. The players seem to like him really, really early doors. He seems to know how to get inside their heads early. Of course, his biggest task is, his remit is to get inside Cole Palmer's head. We'll speak maybe a little bit more about that. But Joao Pedro's done an interview about, with Sky Sports. He seemingly, it's worked really well with him. Of course, the wingers is the next thing. Can he really unlock anything out of the two wingers on the left, which I'm about to speak about, and Diego Moreira? But yes, it feels quite Chelsea to be so targeted by the media like this with Liam Rosenior, and it will hopefully it will make Chelsea fans rally around him. Us versus them, the campaign against Chelsea. Shades of Jose Mourinho. That's all I'm saying. Love it. Now, where there's Chelsea, there is Strasbourg. I'm sorry. I want to let them go, percolate, do their own thing. But I've been watching for, pretty much since he's got there, Diego Moreira play for Strasbourg as a sort of wide midfielder, as a wing back, as a winger. Okay, so context. I just spat on my screen. I'm getting very emotional and aggressive here. We signed Morera on a free, I think, from a Portuguese academy. We didn't spend any money on him. We got him on a free, and we scouted him. He will be one of the hits of these, much maligned sporting directors when they get some right, don't they? And we signed him, and it seemed like a weird signing, and it looked like we were going to give him a chance, despite, not spending loads of money on him. But we'll speak about wingers that we spend lots of money on in a moment. And fair play, he didn't we signed him, he must have been, 18? So he's 21 now, I think. Yeah, so he's 21 now. He doesn't turn 22 before the end of the season. He turns 22 in the summer, the 6th of August. We must have signed him as an 18-year-old or whatever, the beginning of the beginning of the sporting director's reign. So certainly still a teenager. I don't know if he was given much of a chance at Chelsea, but we sold him to Strasbourg. They were like, right, well, we've got to sell him for something because fair market value, that gets evaluated. So we sold him for £1.2 million. Okay. £1.2 million. Now, for those of you who have not been watching his performances, and you could be like, yeah, it's Ligue 1. Now, Ligue 1 isn't the strongest league in Europe. Some people say it's the 5th strongest. Some might think it's climbed up to the fourth. But one thing you can say about Liga, obviously France is a hotbed for incredible talent. By the way, he's like Portuguese-Belgian Moreira. Despite being called Diego Moreira, he's actually declared for Belgium. So he'll be playing for the Belgium national team. Despite what you think of the strength of Liga, obviously there's so many amazing players that cost loads of money, whether they're coming from like Iran or something like that, selling, you got your like Camavingas, your Jeremy Doku's, and now your Jacquets and other players as well. There's a hotbed of talent as well, like Chouameni's and stuff like that in France, that cost loads of money. Profile-wise, Liga has been compared to the Premier. That it's the closest stylistically to the Premier League in terms of like speed and physicality. Just the quality, the coaching, and the money is nowhere near. Obviously, they've struggled for like it's like McDonald's Liga, and the TV money is like struggled and all this kind of stuff. But actually, it's a really, really good developmental ground for Premier League players in terms of what they're ready for. So he's gone to Liga. He's playing for Strasbourg. So he's not playing for Marseille or certainly PSG, even though I think he could play for either of those teams. Maybe not PSG, but they'd have him in the squad 100%. He's ripping it up, dude. He is so explosive, so dynamic, so technical, and most pertinently, so confident on the ball that if you said to me now, right, yeah, he's a left-sided player. Where's the number 7 for Strasbourg? If you said to me now, Jan, there's a must-win game. You're in a Champions League final tomorrow, yeah? Chelsea. You start Joao Pedro up top, Steva Willian on the right. Say Palmer's found a bit of form. He goes in the number 10. Who are you starting in the left wing? £50 million, Jamie Gittens. £40 million, Alejandro Garnacho. Or £1.2 million, Diego Moreira. I'm starting Diego Moreira every day of the week at the moment. Now, look, I am not a hater, right? I need to be real fair here. I do think Garnacho's got a high ceiling. I think he's got a very low floor as well. And the way he's playing at the moment, he's sort of erratic, doesn't defend well. Diego Moreira is trusted to play as a left wing back. He's trusted to play as a player that can be defensive, or as a winger, or as a fullback. He's technical, he's fast, he's defensive, he's high octane, he's confident. Just watching how he manipulates the ball, he can score worldies, he can do overhead kick clearances to keep the ball in play like the other day. Moreira is cooking, bro. A £1.2 million player that at the moment I would start every day of the week over £90 million worth of left winger in either Garnacho and Gittens. Now, you could laugh at the sporting directors for this, and I think many people are, but they did sign Moreira for nil points, or nil euro, no money basically, and then they still technically own him. Do you know what I mean? He's super, super good. They'll look at the other players they've signed really well, like Panicelli and Barco from Brighton, who they've moved into midfield. He looks amazing now. His stats are incredible. So there are some really, really good talents like percolating well at Strasbourg. Of course, Penda's in goal. Lots are on loan. But I have a feeling that they will be looking at Diego Moreira as a 21-year-old, doesn't turn 22 before the end, until after the season. Like, maybe we can just like but do you put £50 million Gittens over there and bring back Moreira? But you have to buy Moreira because he's not on loan. You sold him for 1.2 million. And what's fair? That's another thing, bro. Like if Chelsea went, okay, Moreira's just too good, we need him back at Chelsea from Strasbourg, they can't bring him back for like 1.2 million because of the whole fair market value market. So they will have to be financially juicing Strasbourg, sell him for 1.2 million. Yeah, even if they bought him back for 20 million, they'll be getting some player for 20 million. Do you know what I mean? Like, or like whatever, 20, what, just even if they times the money by 20, so whatever that is, 22 million? Whatever, no, 20, no, anyway, my maths is poor. Point being, it will be insane profit, and it still probably wouldn't be enough. And then what do you do with Gittens and Garnacho? Like, it's worth saying, Jamie Gittens has torn his hamstring, so we're wishing him well in terms of his recovery. I do genuinely. By the way, for reference, I think there's a player in both Gittens and Garnacho. Gittens was profiled as really as an exciting, explosive 1v1 winger that was perfect for the way Chelsea want to play, the way Moreira wants to play. He loved wingers. Liam Rosinia likes wingers as well. Of course, it's all part of the Blue Co way or whatever. I do think there is a player in Gittens that can be really exciting, but I don't want to say he's undercoached because he's played over 100 games in a top 5 league. When we signed Mykhailo Mudryk, he was obviously undercoached because he'd played in a certain way in a really low-ranked European league for Shakhtar. So it was like, throw the ball in the channel and counter with Mudryk, who can carry the ball really hard and kick it really hard as well. That does not translate to top-level European football, even though, Mudryk could still be excellent in time. But Gittens played in the top 5 league, he had loads of Champions League experience, he knew how to 1v1, slow the game down, take his man on, and be really exciting, and he's 20, when we signed him. Was he 20? I think he was 20 years old when he signed him, he's 21 now, I think. You look at that and you go, bang, that makes total sense, we really want him, fine. Garnacho reeks of market opportunity, because he is by scouts and it's what they call analysts. They look at what Garnacho can do. He's always on the. He's a bit like I keep saying this. He's like Noni Madueke, but they play differently. And Noni's like a 1v1 byline dribble. Garnacho's a little bit more transitional and cross sort of thing and getting behind. But they're both see loads of ball, see loads of action, and see loads of final action screwed up differently. Do you know what I mean? And they're the same age. I think Noni's like 2 years older than Garnacho. So they screw things up in different ways, but they both see lots of the ball. And then the analysts, they're like, okay, well, they're always on the ball. They're never shying away from the ball. That's worth so much. And if you just iron out that final action, you've got such a weapon there. Do you know what I mean? So I understand why, in theory, they went with Garnacho as like a market opportunity, but he's been concerningly poor, really worrying, even if he's a capacity to score like a push gash overhead kick. I'm really concerned. Out of the two, and earlier this season, it was undeniable Garnacho was starting over Gittens in terms of how he looked with the team and how he was like linking up with Neto and doing the celebration with Neto on the advertising hoarding, It looked like, right, Garnacho makes the most sense in terms of who to use here. But in terms of what I see now and the style of wingers, I would keep Gittens over Garnacho. I'd like for them both to succeed and come good, but I really did want to speak about and highlight the situation with spending 90 million on these players and selling Diego Moreira, who... And I don't care that it's the French league, bro. I don't care that, it's the French league and they're playing against Monaco. Every time I watch him with a football at his feet, I go, this is exciting. I do not think that when I look at our very expensive alternatives. I feel frustration. And I feel regret. Of course, the right wing at Chelsea is pretty locked down. I know Neto has got loads of criticism recently, but he is a really reliable operator. He will score goals, he will assist, he'll work hard, he'll press, he'll defend, he'll play on both sides, he'll play as a striker. Like, Neto is not going anywhere, he's a good player, even if he frustrates a lot of people lately. Of course, Esteval's a star. Of course, Cole Palmer can play on the right. We're sort of okay there. Giovanni Kenda is coming to Chelsea as well. That's another thing. Would you be shocked, though? Because, again, the Portuguese league is close to the French, but still ranked lower. Would you be shocked that 18-year-old Giovanni Kenda maybe goes to Strasbourg on loan for a season? I know he's saying apparently he's being lined up for Chelsea, but we just don't know, do we? Maybe there's a world where we say, right, Diego Moreira is too good. We're taking him Strasbourg, but here's 20 million. Wow, what a massive profit you've made. And here's Giovanni Kenda. He's well fun. Enjoy him for a bit. Do you know what I mean? And then over the next sort of 2 or 3 seasons, whichever one is better out of Gittens and Garnacho can stay. The other one gets sold. I think Garnacho will be earmarked as a much easier player to sell. Someone like Atletico Madrid coming back in for him. You're not going to lose money in Garnacho, I think, because stylistically, I think a lot of like, teams analysts look at Garnacho and think, yeah, I get it. He can have a high value for us. So there we go. Yeah, I just needed to talk about that because I've been watching football thinking, this makes no sense whatsoever. But let me know your thoughts. Please do leave them down in the comment section below. I'll be very grateful for those. Thank you for liking and subscribing on YouTube, following and 5-starring on Spotify. Football Therapy Podcast, that's what you got to search. And of course, there are short form clips now when you search Football Therapy Clips on both TikTok and Instagram. All right, gang. Glad to have you here. See you soon over the weekend. Take care. Peace.